Last year, the management of our plant decided to improve the processes in production to optimize the operation of equipment. We are engaged in the production of pharmaceuticals and have been on the pharmaceutical market for more than 20 years. We use various pharmaceutical equipment that meets the requirements and standards of GMP to produce our products. At a general meeting on the development of production, the leading engineer of the analytical laboratory proposed to update the analytical and laboratory equipment. Using analytical equipment, monitor moisture level readings, melting time, transparency, dissolution, hardness parameters, thickness, viscosity, many analytical operations to determine the quality of raw materials, finished products. We conducted on technically obsolete laboratory equipment, which often did not provide indicators of verification. I have been working at the plant for 10 years as a leading production technologist. I was tasked by the management to find and buy a vacuum drying unit for the analytical laboratory. I began the search, having clarified the necessary parameters with the leading laboratory engineer in advance. He suggested that I choose modern equipment with simple operation. The engineer advised me to contact the manufacturers of the equipment first. They provide warranty service, drawings, instructions for use, install the manufactured equipment. I followed his advice. I chose one company in Italy, which produces pharmaceutical equipment, went to their website, and wrote a letter, in which I indicated the desired parameters and the capabilities of the machine. I didn't specify a particular unit. I wanted to see what they could offer me. A week later I got the answer that they do not make laboratory scales, but they can develop and produce it, if requested by the end of next year. That was too long for us, so I decided to look for equipment from other manufacturers. I found a company on the internet from Russia, which produces drying machines and other laboratory equipment. I called them and asked whether they had a machine for determining the weight of drugs. They answered that they had such a machine. The manager asked for my phone number and said she would call me back in the evening when she checked with the engineer of her company about the capabilities of the scales. However, she did not call in the evening. I contacted them the next day. The manager said she had forwarded the request to the design department and she would get back to me when she got an answer. This seems strange to me. When do I wait for an answer? How long to wait for an answer? Not a business-like approach to the customer. After a series of failures, I gave up on finding a capsule drying machine on my own. Then I remembered that at the Forum of Producers of Equipment for the Pharmaceutical Industry in Moscow, I met with a specialist who was engaged in selection and supply of laboratory equipment for the production of drugs. I found his business card, and before contacting him I decided to check whether he really specializes in the supply of equipment for the pharmaceutical industry. In order to do this I found his website and thoroughly studied the information on it. I liked that the website was up to date, with video clips of the equipment and lots of contacts for communication. I also noticed that the website had been around since 2003. The company had been on the equipment supply market for a long time, and that is a good reason to say that it was successful. I called the manager. He said he remembered me and was happy to hear from me again. I told him that I was looking for a modern laboratory dryer for capsules with simple controls. He suggested a machine option that was popular with customers and proven in pharmaceutical manufacturing. I agreed to consider it. The manager emailed me the passport and instructions for the equipment. He also offered to perform a turnkey delivery procedure. I liked the recommended variant of the machine for drying, and I agreed with the management. A week later we signed a contract for the supply of equipment, and 20 days after signing the contract the manager called me and told me that the equipment was ready to be delivered within a week. When the machine was delivered, we were easily able to figure out how it worked. We fill a hollow bag with red capsules and put it in the window of the machine. Then we close the lid tightly and indicate on the control panel the allowable vacuum drying cycle. The lab engineer, and myself included, were satisfied with the suggested vacuum drying machine option. I realized that I had made the right choice of a professional to supply the equipment. Real professionals pay attention to detail, and I was lucky to find such a person when selecting the equipment.